Welcome to Inland Edition, where this season we're having conversations with people who represent nonprofit organizations working to make the Inland Empire a better place. My name is Joe Richardson. I'm a local attorney, Inland Empire resident, and your host. And today we're going to chat with Patty Godoy, a co-founder and CEO of AYA Sports Foundation. The AYA Foundation was started by Lily Travieso, a passionate softball player, after experiencing inequalities within the sports community directly tied to the economic status of a player. AYA's mission is to support young female Latina leaders through sports and academic excellence. The foundation develops leadership in Latina athletes through education, training, mentorship, and advocacy in the sports community. After Lily faced obstacles and misconceptions while seeking a sports scholarship to college, Patty Godoy supported her daughter in creating the AYA Foundation. She firmly believes in her daughter's mission to provide guidance and resources for Latina and other female athletes seeking to play sports at colleges and universities today. Let's meet her and learn more about how AYA is affecting the youth in our community. And so from the AYA Sports Foundation, we have the CEO, Patty Godoy. Welcome to Inland Edition.
Thank you so much for having me here this morning.
I'm glad that you're here. So we always build the house a little bit and figure out how you got to doing what you're doing. And talking in the green room, you were talking a little bit about your background and how you came across sports as a help. And it was the beginning of an idea. You didn't necessarily know that it would end up with this, but talk about your background and how it connected you from a sports standpoint and how sports was a lifeline for you.
So I came to this country when I was 12 years old, undocumented. I lived here in LA for 9 years, undocumented. And when I went to play high school, or when I went to high school, I wanted to play softball. And it was through softball that I got away from the whole feeling of being undocumented. I felt like I belonged to something.
Sure.
And so sports was like an outlet for me,
Right.
not only mentally because it got me distracted, but it also made me belong and become part of a team.
Sure.
And so it created that sense of unity of like, I have a purpose here. Even
Right.
though at home, I could only walk home and to school and back and forth or to church because we couldn't go anywhere because we were afraid of being deported. So, but yeah, so sports at an early time gave me that outlet.
So you do that, and fast forward, you become a nurse. You're like a success story in every sense of the word. So how do you get to the point where you are actually starting this incredible foundation? How does it happen?
So one of the things that, as a nurse that basically also has helped me with AYA is the fact that, I had to learn the hard way how to become like a leader.
Right.
As a nurse, even though it's a great opportunity for me to take care of patients and all that.
Right.
But as you start getting into your profession, you have to be able to develop skills or be able to be at those leadership roles.
Right.
And at one point, for me, I was passed on for a supervisor role because it said I was too quiet.
Wow.
And yes, I think being the last of seven children in the family, I was very introverted, and so it was one of those things that it didn't come out naturally for me, and so I had to develop my leadership skills.
Sure.
And so that was one of the things that I had to learn, and I feel like, women need to be more out there. They need to really put themselves out there. And I think sports kind of tied it back with my kids.
Right.
I didn't want them to be as shy and quiet as I was. So for me, I pushed them in sports really early in life.
Right.
And so that created their leadership skills in the field. But I also, I feel that we need to explore or expand that further.
Right.
Because I know that at my level, I'm at the executive level, I'm the only Latina and the only woman at that level. I have men, I work with like 80% men in my own job. And so it's, it's something that is my passion as well to develop young women.
Sure. So tell me about what AYA Sports Foundation actually does.
So first of all, I want to, AYA, so it's an acronym,
Right.
Empowering Leadership in Latina Athletes.
Yes.
And AYA in Spanish means she, her in Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's basically, our goal is to level the playing field for Latina athletes and women of color. And when I say that, it just means that we want to see more women being represented of our color at that level.
Right.
My daughter is at Cornell, and she is the 1%.
Right. Ivy League. Hey,
Ivy
come
League.
on now.
And it's one of the things that for us, because through sports is how she got there.
Right.
Here she is. We put her in sports when she was young, very young. She's 6 years old. She had to play baseball because there were no organized women or softball at the age of 6, because girls usually start playing later. And there's research out there, the girls start later in sports and they drop out of sports earlier than boys.
Wow.
And so at 6 years old, she played with the boys, and she liked it. She liked that. And so for us, we put her there. She played softball, volleyball. She played basketball. And then at 10 years old, she tells me, I want to play college sports, because she was watching at that time Lisa Fernandez or
Sure.
women that looked like her in the Olympics.
Yeah, right.
And so at that point, I decided, I'm like, how am I going to do this? I've gone to school. I'm a nurse, but I don't know what it's like to help someone to use sports as a vehicle. And so I always say that we went through the journey. Because my husband and I helped her. My husband on the athletic side, because he played baseball in college, and so for me it was again one of those things. I'm like, okay, I need to find a way. And so we were able to find a way, find the formula, because there's a formula for everything, and there's a lot of money for girls in sports in colleges.
Right.
And but the day that we went to Cornell University and they gave her an amazing award, is when we decided. And the flight back, my daughter and I were just sitting there in the flight and just thinking about how, what got us here, and what made her different, what made her stand out, and how can we go back and share this with our community? How can we get more people, more little girls, to dream of going on Ivy League school and get there? And every time that I go watch her play softball, I always feel like everybody knows who her mother is, because I'm the only one that looks like this.
Yeah,
and so it's like, how can we get that? How can we bring more awareness? And that's basically what inspired us with AYA.
And you say us, you and your daughter actually founded this organization together.
Yes.
Wow. So tell me about the day-to-day of the organization. We see that the encouragement is for sports, but there's a lot of different involvement opportunities and a lot of different things that you do, and you actually have a wide-ranging area too.
Yes, so we actually are out of Los Angeles, but we go everywhere. Out of state, we've been everywhere. AYA basically works on 3 pillars that we call it. We have the athletics component, whereas we want girls to play sports, and we want them to start early and to start developing themselves. We provide free camps, free opportunities, because we know that money is tied to opportunities, and when people don't have the opportunities, when they don't have the money, they won't have the opportunities.
Sure.
And so we provide free camps, free skill sessions for all different sports. The other component, and we want girls to use sports as a vehicle to go to college, because in a lot of our communities, that's going to break the cycle of, a lot of our girls that we're helping are their first generation going to college.
Sure.
And so, and that inspires other girls in their communities as well to do the same. Then we do the education component, which is we have empowerment workshops. And this is where the leadership component comes. This was my passion as well, because again, I want to develop leaders. We say girls we wanted them to be leaders in the field, but also outside the field.
Sure.
And so we want them to take those skills, because sports teaches that, and they just need to practice it. And so we do a lot of workshops. We go everywhere to do workshops, and we do it for little girls as young as 8 to 10 to even college girls.
Sure.
Because a lot of times, what I found out too is that with girls having in sports from a very early age, that's all they've done.
Right.
So what happens when they're done, when they finish? Like what happens when they're, okay, I went to a D1 school in Ivy League,
Right.
played the sport,
Right.
it's a job when they're in college.
Right.
What do you do now? So they need that professional guidance. And so that's something that we
Yes.
also do with AIA. We mentor girls. I connect girls to like professionals that we
Right.
have contacts with.
Yes.
And possible mentorships as well, where they can, I know that I mentor nurses. I'm always looking for nurses out there. It's like, who wants to be a nurse?
Right.
I guide them through what to do. I connect them with other resources. Because one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that they go back to the community themselves
Right.
and do the same thing. Basically, I'm helping you, and then you're helping somebody else.
Right.
So then the third pillar is community.
Right.
And with community, we do a lot of equipment, donation to underserved communities. I
Right.
donated, AYA donated equipment to my high school.
Right.
I went back 2 years ago, and they're still playing in tennis shoes.
Wow.
It's still, it was kind of like a sweet and sour moment for me because I'm thinking, oh no, things are different. I mean, I live in Burbank, which is 10 minutes away from Hollywood. And you're thinking, how can it still be that disparity? How can there be that
Right.
inequality of the opportunities and access that girls have to sports? How can
Right.
that be? And so it kind of gave me kind of like one of those things where you're just like, you have to keep going. You have to keep doing this because there's still that need for that.
Right.
And so we do that, and we also have our ambassador program, which is an area where we get girls to become what I say is I want them to become little minions of my daughter Lily and my husband and I,
Right.
because we know that a girl cannot do it by themselves. They have to.
Sure.
They need their support of the parents, which whether it is to take them to practice, whether it is to take them to a workshop, whether it is to find ways to fundraise to take them to the next tournament.
Right.
Find ways, because it's very expensive. Everything is tied to money. I know for us, we gave up a lot of family vacations
Sure.
because we wanted to support our daughter.
Yeah.
And so our vacations would happen where her tournaments happen.
Right.
That's just, we had to drag my youngest daughter with us everywhere. So there's a lot of things that families end up having to give up. So we have to make sure. So the ambassador program is basically, we support them, and we also want to know what the needs in their communities are. Because I don't know what the needs in Hayward is,
Right.
what the needs in, like Yucaipa or,
Right.
Jurupa Valley, what the needs are there. So we need ambassadors that can be our eyes and say, I have a need. There's a need. And it gives them that exposure too with like leadership and project management.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, you have an idea, like our little ambassador that's 13 years old from
Right.
here, from Riverside, she wanted to do a boxing clinic for the community. And she's like, there's not many rings out there. And so we were able to support her with that. We had over 50 little girls that showed up.
Wow.
And we had 2 boxers. It was her and an older boxer, La Cobra, her name is, and
Right.
Panterita.
Right.
They can carry the clinic, and
Right.
and we provided free gloves, free boxing gloves
Right.
for girls. So to be able to do that and to see, I mean, just the fact that this 13-year-old girl put this together is incredible. And now she's giving back to the community and saying, yeah, you want to look like me, you want to play, you want to. So those are the things we do with the community component of it. Is bring all that together.
So hearing you talk about the importance of sports and how it made you feel like a person, being on a teammate, feeling equal, not having to have your guard up, right? Being able to be free. I remember feeling that way as a child. I played at the YMCA, and I remember going through things as a family, but whenever I stepped on the court, I was okay, and I could dream. And I remember one summer in particular, we won a championship. And when you get a chance to be a champion and to have your teamwork work out, it's invaluable. And those lessons I've never forgotten. So I'm thrilled that you're doing this. I'm interested though in how I see a connection between between being a nurse, right, and the things that come out of you being a nurse, and this involvement and what AYA, actually does, and its mission and how it comes through, particularly when you're talking about the health benefits of being involved in sports. Can you talk about that some?
Yeah, so actually, our workshop that we do for young girls, the 8 and 10-year-olds, is called Racing Girl Athletes.
Right.
And so this workshop, I usually like to invite parents as well to
Right.
come and listen to this because,
Sure.
playing sports has a lot of physical,
Right.
benefits.
Right.
You keep people active, kids active, moving, but it also has a mental health component as well.
Right.
And there's research out there too that says
Right.
that if girls that participate in sports are less depressed, because even depression is a huge thing that is that we talk about right now.
Right.
But also it helps with that connection with people, having a team, having someone besides your parent
Right.
that you could go to.
Yeah.
I know coaches are sometimes that person that are
Right.
the ones that are gonna be your someone that you can talk to.
Yeah.
So being a team player, all that it has a sense of purpose in your life,
Right.
and it can give you that distraction and that sense of security from the mental health perspective.
And maybe this leads into this next thought is that you know what it was like growing up for you playing in sports. You've been able to look in the window and be part of the process with your daughter. How have you seen that change over the years, and what do you see as some of the related challenges? Where are we going in terms of kids being involved in sports? Economics is still a thing, right? It's still an issue. What are some of the things that you see that way?
So I have seen the opportunities for sports for girls evolve over time. Definitely. I know that I talk about going back to my high school and still seeing the same
Right.
issues. I think a lot of counties
Right.
check boxes. Oh, we're
Sure.
going to have a sports for
Right.
girls. We're going to do this. But a lot of times they don't take the opportunity to really invest.
Right.
Just
Sure.
like high school sports too. There's some high school coaches that are just there to check the box. Maybe
Right.
they've never even played that sport.
Right.
They have men teaching girls how to play softball,
Right.
where they maybe never even played baseball. Um, so I think there's a lot of work to be done. There's like with like Title IX, there's been 50 years of that, and
Right.
my daughter actually got the opportunity to introduce to go to the White House
Right.
next to
Oh my
our
gosh.
VP,
Right.
Harris, and
Right.
she introduced Billie King Jean.
Wow.
A month ago, it was Women's in Sports Day.
Oh wow, great.
And they talk about how Billie King was one of the pioneers of
Right.
that Title IX. But at the same time, there's still so much work to be done.
Yeah.
Because yes, there is. If you look at research, our numbers are going up,
Right.
but they're still way below boys
Right.
sports.
Right.
And you can still see it even at the college level. Boys sports have more funding than girls sports.
Right.
And there's all these things. So I know that there's a lot of work to be done. There's still. I mean, my daughter said it. Herself. It's grateful. She's grateful that she's able to be where she's at. Playing college, softball. But at the same time, because there's women that couldn't. They never had that opportunity before. And so, but where are we going now? Like, what else can we do?
Right.
And this is where, with AI, we're also looking into trying to bridge that gap. Because right now, the way that, and actually when I went to donate equipment at the high school that I went to school, I realized something was so evident for me. So, and one little girl, there were 24 girls there. 20 were Hispanic, 4 African Americans, and
Right.
I asked them. They were 14 to 17 years old, 14 to 18,
Right.
and I asked them, "How many of you play, travel softball?" None of them raised their hands. So if you're not playing travel softball by the time you're 14 years old,
Right.
or club ball,
Right.
there's no opportunity for you to even try to go to college. Even junior college might not even, you're not going to have that opportunity.
Right.
So why is that happening?
Yeah.
So then after the whole thing, this young lady came to me and she goes, I tried to try, because you have to try out for a travel team.
Right.
She says, I tried out when I was 12 years old. And but I was competing. She goes, I started playing when I was 10.
Right.
And I was competing with girls that had started playing softball when they were 6.
Right.
So their level of play was way off.
Yeah, for sure.
And so here you have a 12-year-old and that started playing at 10, and then you have a 12-year-old started playing 6. So where's their level of play going to be?
Right.
So what gets, because I know for my daughter, we had to, the park, like Park and Rec wasn't what was going to get her there.
Right.
Because they were teaching her base, and I'm not saying that she learned that, but it's like, what's next? The
Right.
quality coaching is so important.
Yeah, sure.
So we had to pay, fielding coach,
Right.
a pitching, everything, batting coach,
Yeah.
because she wasn't getting it at the park and rec level.
Right.
And so that's one of the things that needs to change. We need to have more opportunities. Not only, oh yes, $25 for girls to play, but what are they playing? Are you really preparing them to go and go to this travel softball?
Right.
Events. And that's one of the things that we're, with these free clinics and free camps, that's what we're trying to do, is to elevate their quality of play so they can compete at that level.
Right.
And they can be, because if they compete well, they're going to have more opportunities because people are going to open doors for them.
So connected to that, how do you come across the kids that you serve? Are you working through parks, working through the schools? How do the kids know where
Yeah.
they become that first touch point with the program?
So I always say that EYA is a community.
Right.
And I always tell people EYA can be anyone. It could be a coach.
Right.
It could be a teacher. It could be anyone. And so the way that we have our website, and we also have Instagram, where nowadays social media is pretty. We get a lot of our girls that participate in our camps through social media.
Okay.
But they can also reach out to us via our website. There's an email. Sometimes we have people individually that reach out to us.
Right.
Sometimes we have college, high school coaches
Okay.
that reach out,
Great.
or like community, leaders that, or then we go as well to them. I know that we recently had an event with LA County Parks. It was Girls in Sports Day.
Right.
We were running the softball clinic, but we also donated equipment because even though it's a LA County, they still have lack resources.
Right, sure,
It's not, they don't have.
Of course, there's haves and have-nots.
Yes, right. And so it was amazing. They had over 200 girls that participated in that event, and it was amazing to see little girls try to play sports that they've never tried, and they would rotate them. They had soccer stations, basketball, softball, and volleyball.
Tell me about your resource wish list. We're always talking about resources. Listen, nothing gets get done unless something gets donated, something gets paid for, however it happens. From a resource standpoint, fill in the blank. If I had more resources, this is what we would do more of. This is what we would get into that we're not quite into yet. Here's what we think is the next frontier. What would be your priorities that way?
So as far as with resources, the organization started with my daughter that was at college, my husband and I. Literally, and then my young daughter that I made her help us and the administrative component. And so that was it. And now we have a team of about 10 people, because now we have a board.
Oh, wow. Sure.
And we have also people staff that we pay, that we hire, to do. So it will be the workshops alone. I'm the one that runs them.
Right,
so,
sure.
I don't, charge. So it's like, but yeah, it will be great to have more resources for staff.
Yeah, sure.
Even if it's like internships for like marketing or social media, because it takes a lot of time. I have a full-time job, so I was doing the social media initially.
Yeah, for sure.
I was doing the newsletter.
Doing it all,
we have to write newsletters every month to see where we've been. So supporting that sense would be great. We'd love to be able to expand our staff, so we can reach more people.
So what is the one message you'd want to give us for people to know about the AS Sports Foundation?
So one message that I want to get across is for the parents. I want to make sure that they understand the importance of putting girls in sports early in their lives. The research out there, it just talks about how girls start later in sports, and specifically in our communities, in the Latino community, the communities of color. Sports is not something that parents prioritize or value. So the message that I want to say is value that, because not only is it going to get your girls exposed to, better physical health, better mental health, but it's also going to open doors where, maybe college wasn't a thing because you didn't think you could afford it, but through sports, you can get there. And so your girls can get there, and just use that as a vehicle that could later open doors for them as well. Because once they graduate from college, now they're going to have other doors that are going to open for them. Yeah. And so truly, and the message is, value sports, prioritize it, especially in our Latino community where it's not valued highly right now. Support your daughters if they want to play sports. Do everything you can and reach out to us because we're able to facilitate and help you and guide you.
That's what we want. Give us the homework on how we follow up this amazing, unique organization. How can people get in contact with you?
So first of all, you can go to our website, asportsfoundation.org. There's all the information about our programs, our calendar of events, things that are coming up, things that we've done in the past, people you can contact. There's also our email is there, info@ayasports.org. And you can also follow us on Instagram. It's Aya Sports FDN. Those are our social handles for Twitter, for Facebook, and Instagram as well. And those are the ones that are actually, have all the day-to-day things that are happening. All the announcements are there. So yeah, that's how you can contact us.
Patty Godoy, this is extremely inspiring. I thank you so much and wish you all the greatest success with the Aya Sports Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. Once again, you got another wonderful organization that's doing things in Southern California, including the Inland Empire, to help make a difference. Let everybody know. Watch the show. Go to YouTube. You'll see outtakes, not only the shows themselves, but additional information. So make sure that you check it out. And we're going to continue going down the road like we always do, building bridges and uncovering treasures that are helping this Inland Empire area. We'll do it one conversation at a time. Until then, Joe Richardson for Inland Edition. See you next time.